Yes, I'm still here, Hollywood. And coming up on today's episode...
Pamela was going to go to Baywatch, and they put out on the breakdown, Debbe Dunning type, but not Debbe Dunning. I go, I think it's literally 7 words, one. I don't think I'm just one. She's like, one episode. She's like, oh no, you'll be here for a while. And so when, Hef came and they offered me Playboy, I was like, I'm having kids someday. Yeah, I wish I had a man in my house to do it for me. I just don't. I do fix a lot of things. I hang things. I find the stud. I drill in, and then I put the hanger. I put swings up in my bedroom. I mean, there's a lot of
swings in your bedroom? That's what keeps you in shape too, huh? In the 1990s, television was in its heyday. The bulk of shows were still on the 4 broadcast networks. No streaming yet, some cable. It was great. One show on ABC catapulted some of its early stars into worldwide superstardom. One went to infinity and beyond. Another went to the beach. But when a cast changes on a TV hit, the show obviously must still go on. And there was one actor who perfectly filled the shoes and tool belt of the previous star in order to help keep the show on the air for years. This is Still Here Hollywood. I'm Steve Kmetko. Join me with today's guest and one of the stars of Home Improvement, Debbe Dunning. Debbie, how did you get into this line of work? Let's start at the beginning.
Okay, it's an interesting story. People had always told me, you're so funny, you should be in comedy or acting, and I was always working. When I was a kid, my dad was in and out of hospitals because he had a chemical imbalance, and so we went to work very early. And my girlfriend said to me one time, you should join this bikini contest because you're doing 2 paper outs, and it's like you could make so much money on one weekend if you win. And I'm like, well, that's if you win. So we got on the bus. We went down to, I think it was Manhattan Beach, Hermosa Beach. They had the Hermosa Beach Pro Beach volleyball tournaments. And I got in a tournament, and I won. I had the biggest bathing suit there. I mean, I probably out of my bathing suit could have made 3 of those girls' bathing suits. But for some reason, Wholesome won. And then I did it for the next 2 weekends, and I made some money. But originally, I made the money because my parents were going to Hawaii. And, back in the day where you would have an airline ticket, you'd hold the airline ticket, and you'd put it in your safe. You'd have it at your house. We got robbed, so somebody took their airline tickets. And so with those 3 bikini contests in a row that I did win, I don't even know how, I paid for the trip. Seriously? I
have
don't.
An idea.
Okay, well, thank you. But literally, I walked up and I said, oh, I am so not. This is I have got this big, huge bathing suit on with cherries. And these girls have these straps that are literally so skimpy. I'm like, oh my gosh, my mom would never let me out of the house like that. But so that's kind of where it started. I was excited about, the fact that I was having a little success. And I was like, maybe I'll be a model. And my mom always said, you're too short and it's too competitive. But I met a casting person, and they said, you just need to go, interview with some agencies. So one day I woke up, it's different now, obviously, but I woke up and I went to 10 agencies, and there was only one that seemed interested in me, and that was Judith Fontaine. And she was wonderful. She was hard, but she was wonderful. She's like, let's get those tiger stripes out of your hair. And I want one color. Here's numbers. Go shoot a Z card. You remember Z cards?
No, I don't.
Okay, so a Z card was the cheapest Z card would cost $150. You had a photo on the one side, and on the back, it was 3 or 4 photos. And so I shot with this guy, John Abeda. And John Abeda was known for shooting beautiful body shots. And she's like, let's focus on the body. So I started doing sportswear and activewear, and was like, great. So that's how I started, and I got really, really lucky that I was successful.
Yeah, but you went from modeling and swimsuit competitions to actually acting and talking and hosting.
Yeah, it's a slow process, though. You get under 5, where you can do like soap opera, and you can do under 5 lines, or you can, thanks, and walk by. And I mean, for me, it's exciting. And then I did commercials. I broke into commercials. And in my first 2.5 months doing commercials, I shot 12 national commercials. And at the time,
Wow.
I thought, yeah, I
That's
know.
good money.
I didn't know how good it was at the time. But the biggest campaigns I did were like Taco Bell. Their sales quadrupled as soon as I jumped out of a truck with my cowgirl boots on. And this cowgirl thing has kind of been my mojo for years. I had no idea it would take me into my 50s. So yeah, I ended up doing 21 commercials for Taco Bell. I did Carefree Sugarless Gum. I did Miller Lite. I mean, I thought it was easy to get commercials because I knew nothing else. Until I couldn't get any more commercials because I was overrun. Oh, she's that girl. So, and that was not for very long, but but Judith was great. She kept me going. She put me on the right track, and I continued little by little by little, getting bigger parts and more respectful parts. So, yeah, which kind of funny because I did Who's the Boss, I did Married with Children, Charlie Hoover, probably shows you haven't even heard of, or maybe you've heard of everything actually. What am I saying? And then I did this show, Home Improvement, and I did one episode.
How did Home Improvement come about?
Just another audition. I played this girl who, the day he promises his wife he won't look at other women. It's called Overactive Glance. I'm in a restaurant.
That's the name of the episode?
Yeah.
Oh.
And he basically said, I won't look at women. And then he hears men talking about me in the restaurant. And I see that when she leaves to go to the restroom, I see that it's Tim, the Toolman Taylor. So I run over. I'd never seen the show. Okay. So I had no idea what the grunt was or anything else. And I do this episode with him, and, one show, and went home, had a great time. Then all of a sudden, a few months later, Pamela was going to go to Baywatch, and they put out on the, the breakdown, Debbe Dunning type, but not Debbe Dunning. And I said, that's too bad because I do her pretty well. So that went on for 2 weeks.
That's kind of flattering.
It was so flattering. I didn't know I was a type. But I guess I had kind of made my way in commercials and acting where they knew who I was now, on a very low scale. And then they said, let's bring her in. Let's just bring her in. And it was kind of a lot of she's going to be known from that one part. And they're like, maybe for a second. And I remember Janelle calling me saying, come on in and come as you were. So I wore the same sexy dress. And I walked into a bunch of construction girls. I'm like, oh, shoot. What are they talking about? And I approached the bench. She's like, what are you wearing? I go, I'm wearing what I wore in the episode. She goes, I said to come how you were. And I said, oh, how can I do this? And she's like, I'm not going to let you go in there like that. And I go, okay, well, I will just wait till they come out and they see me here then. And she's like, no, I'm saying I don't have time for you. And I said, well, then I just will wait till they see me because I drove pretty far to get here. And so she went and told them, and they let me come in, and I apologized, and I said, I'm sorry, I don't know anything, I didn't know. And they're like, it's okay. So I didn't get a call back, so I showed up the next day in the right outfit with my not callback. And at the gate, they're like, we don't have a pass for you. I'm like, I got it. I mean, I'm right here. I was here yesterday. I have a callback. And they're like, okay, go ahead. So persistence, sometimes, if you believe in yourself. It was a bummer. It was a mistake that I made the first day, a misunderstanding what come as me, come as I was. They loved how I was with no makeup and hair in a bun and, joking around, fitting in with the family. So it paid off. And I didn't know what the Tool Time Girl was. I thought he just had this episode where I had to introduce him. And when the wardrobe girl came up and took me down, she was putting me in all these clothes. I go, I think it's literally 7 words. One, I don't think I'm just one. She's like, one episode. She's like, oh no, you'll be here for a while. Had no idea how how big that was going to be.
Is that the biggest, do you think that's the biggest
job I've ever had?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still reaping the benefits, and people still recognize me from the show, which is crazy. And like, I'll do Comic-Cons now, and it's like this arena of positivity. You're sitting there and people are like, we loved the show. It was our family time, and it was such a good part of my childhood. And I was really blessed to be a part of something so amazing.
I talked to my cousin yesterday after I talked to you on the phone. He lives in Ohio. He's in his 40s. And I told him I was interviewing you and Richard a little bit later. Mm-hmm. And he said, I loved that show.
Yeah.
Okay, good for you.
And it's great because it is always the reaction. And it is always something that is left an imprint in these people's lives of a good time with their family. And I mean, how lucky can that be?
Yeah.
And to be part of it.
Yep.
Yeah. And I never did anything, like I never had anything that was inappropriate. It was sexy, but it was always borderline, about to get on that line, but always clean. And I remember Andy Cadiff, one of our directors, saying to me, listen, you're sexier when you have more clothes on. And I was pushing to be like, I can't believe, like, I've got this audience. And he's like, you need to always hold back. And so when, Hef came and they offered me Playboy, I was like, I'm having kids someday.
Leave them wanting more.
Yeah. I was like, I'm going to have kids someday. I can't even imagine if my mom was out there and, is this your mom? So, and then nothing against the women who have done it. I mean, I'm envious. There's times right now I wish I would have, but no, I don't, because my kids are very protective. So.
Right. I heard just yesterday, I believe, maybe it was the day before, Tim Allen on a talk show or a podcast saying that the possibility exists they might retool Home Improvement.
Yeah.
What can you tell us?
I spoke to Tim and I said, I've got this podcast. I don't know if I can talk about it. And I just kind of need to know for me if I would be part of it. And if not, then, I will cry on my own and I will say nothing. But I just needed to know if it comes to fruition, if I'm going to be part of it. And he said, absolutely. So we're just really hoping. I'm kind of glad we didn't just kind of get mixed in the wash when all the shows did it. And now we might stand out a little bit. I know it would be a completely different show, but with all the same people that everybody loved, and who knows how long that could last. But like my daughter, she's 27. She was born on that show. We filmed giving birth.
How did you hide that?
I never hid it.
Oh, you never did?
Oh, I got huge, 52 pounds extra on live television. And, I remember Don Morgan saying to me one time, you realize you're going to have to lose this. And I says, well, it's not my fault they put craft service under the Tool Time audience. I have to walk by and, oh, it smells so good. I'm like, isn't this the time I'm supposed to be able to get out of shape and eat? And yeah, anyway. So yes, fingers crossed. I think as a team, we would love to do that again. I know most of us would. I know me and Richard, we see each other quite a bit on golf tournaments and Comic-Cons, and it would be fantastic. People always want us to.
I hear you have a mean game of golf.
I've gotten better. Yeah, I've gotten better.
I did it once.
Yeah?
I was in Hawaii with friends, and I thought I'd try it. My father used to golf. And I didn't even get through 18 holes. I had a tension backache.
Okay.
I quit at 9. I think it's a very difficult game.
It is a very difficult game, and every hole is a new day. Richard Karn got me into golf, and he got me into golf while I was pregnant with my daughter. He's like, oh, come on out to Seattle. Everybody would love to see you, and come on, just do it. And I go, okay. Out there, it just was horrible. And then I lost the weight. I didn't lose the baby. I had the baby, but I lost the weight, and I tried it again the next year. And then people were like, hey, we need women at golf tournaments. And I'm like, really? I'm not. I'm just a hack. And they're like, that's okay. It's a scramble. I'm like, whatever that is. Well, it's great because a scramble is everybody hits and you just take the best ball. So nobody's focusing on the worst player. you're not bringing the team down. We're working as a team. So I started feeling less pressure and getting better and better. And then I would play more and get longest drive. I'm like, really? I got longest drive? Crazy. I was at Mark Murphy's tournament in Ireland in May, and I got longest drive for the men and the women.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know what I ate that morning, but it was working for me 2 days in a row. So that was pretty awesome.
Green beer.
Yeah. Oh, I did have one of those beers. I did everything I needed to do because, I mean, my father's side was Irish. So, yeah, it's great.
Got to hold up the genes.
Don't go golfing if you don't want to golf. Don't go golfing if you're bad at it and it makes you feel bad. Only go golfing if it's something that you love.
I found it just too hard.
Yeah, a lot of people do. People think it's stupid. People think it's amazing. Like, there's all sorts of sports for other, people.
I enjoy watching it.
Yeah, you do?
Oh, yeah. I really love watching it. Tiger Woods, I could have watched him forever. He was so good.
It frustrates me because I want to do it. I want to get out there and be there golfing against them and with them.
Yeah.
I love it so much. I love roller skating. For me, I have roller skates in my car, and sometimes I have 2 pair. And if I get a moment, I roller skate. Like when I found out I got Home Improvement, I drove to Santa Monica, Venice, and I roller skated. And I was like, what does she mean by I'm going to be here for a while? This might have been my break. Yeah, it's crazy.
It takes a lot of stamina, roller skating does.
It does. I've built it up over years and years and years.
I did it at Santa Monica once with Olympic diver Greg Louganis, who did everything well. Mm-hmm. And we went skating. He had an extra pair of skates, and we went in one direction. And then when it came time to go back in the other direction, and the wind was blowing in our faces,
oh, yeah.
I couldn't keep up.
Yeah. My daughter in Manhattan Beach has this wonderful strand. So I will go to Redondo, flip it around, and go all the way up to Marina del Rey, and then come back to Manhattan Beach, completely dripping sweat, and go, yeah, I had a good day. That was awesome.
Which explains your figure.
Thank you.
What else do you do besides golfing and skating?
Well, I do laundry, and I do gardening, and I am constantly moving. People always say, you can't even watch a television show. I'm like, if I had a TV in my room, I would. And then just last week, I got a TV in my room.
Uh-oh.
It is the only time I can actually go, okay, I'm letting myself get back into the shows I wish I could watch. Because, like, my kids are like, you're always moving, Mom. I'm like, until I can't, I'm 57 years old. I feel great, and I'm lucky because, I was filming this show, Debbe Dunning's Dude Ranch Roundup, and I broke my back filming. And I got tossed off a horse, and I unfortunately landed on a rock, and I busted my L1, and I fractured both adjacent vertebrae. And I was in a body, brace for 8 months. So I still had to film the show. So I was like, this week, I'm going to take a break. I'm going to let everybody else ride. I never said anything on the show, but I needed that job, and I kept it going.
When you said you needed that job, has your whole career been kind of that? You need to work from one job to the next?
Absolutely.
Because this business is not very forgiving. Or
no, it's not.
It can be fickle.
Yes. I've rode this incredible roller coaster since I was 21, and it's starting late for a lot of us, but I don't know. I don't know anything else that would make me more happy. I got my feet wet in producing and executive producing and creating. So I created this Dude Ranch show, and I did not know I didn't know a thing about how I was going to do it. So I went to a Dude Ranch and talked to Russell True at White Stallion, and I said, you just got to help me. He's like, you got this. He goes, this is a show we've needed. And ironically, the very next year, Yellowstone came out. So I shot 50 Dude Ranches. My last one was Ted Turner's.
Which is where?
Vermejo, New Mexico.
Oh.
We didn't end up producing that particular show because I got there, and instead of my 2 cameramen that I'd worked with, so I was with 2 newbies, and I was like, oh, it's not the quality of what I want to put my name on. So we're going to do it again, though.
Okay.
As soon as I can get those guys back, we're going to give it to them as a gift.
Who do you still see from the show? You mentioned Tim and
I
Richard.
talked to Tim this morning, and I talked to Richard. I see Richard quite a bit. I I have not seen anybody else really in the last few years. We had, I think 3 years after, we had kind of a little show when Earl Hindman was still around, Wilson. But no, after he passed away, we haven't really done anything. Like Tim sometimes has Christmas parties and stuff. We'll see each other, but like me and Richard see each other all the time. And that's fantastic. I mean, I'm surprised he's not here right now.
I was a member of the Hollywood YMCA, and Tim used to work out there.
Oh,
and
yeah?
I would see him almost every morning. He'd come by while I was on the Stairmaster and make fun of me. And because I sweat a lot. I'm one of those people.
Yeah, either you do or you don't.
Yes, either you do or you don't. What happened, say, the day after Home Improvement ended? What was going through your mind at that time? What's next?
No, it's interesting that you would say that because that's a blur to me. My grandfather passed away, and I was the one that had to put the funeral together. So it was a tough week for me because we had interviews and we had, so many people coming in and out of our rooms. And I mean, I was losing weight and I was trying really hard to be my best, present self. And we ended it on a Friday night. And I remember Jolene and I, we sang to Tim. We did something at the after party, or maybe that was a different one. But anyway, I remember us all sitting there holding hands and bowing, just going, I can't believe it. I can't believe this is over.
Why? Because it had been a part of your life for so long?
Well, you spend so much time. You spend more time with these people than you do your family sometimes. You get there at 10 in the morning, you leave at 5, but that's all fun quality time, and you're being creative and you're having a great time. And then I would get in the car because I commuted from San Diego every day, and get in the car and drive 2 hours, and you think about all the fun laughing when you're driving and what have you. And plus I had my child with me all the time. As soon as I had her, she was in the car with me every day, which was perfectly timed for naps. I'd feed her first thing in the morning, throw her back there, she'd be asleep. Carmen would come in, my nanny, and just take her, and it was great. I never missed a moment of my life with her. But the very next day I had to bury my grandpa, so it was terrible. And I think it was like the week after, I just was like, it hit me. I'm not going to drive into Disney. I'm not going to park in my spot. I'm not going to scare Tim anymore.
And that's a long drive.
It's a long drive.
San Diego to Burbank.
It was quicker then. I mean, now
Was
the
it?
traffic is so different. Yeah. I tried to do the flights. I tried to do the train. I was like, nothing was reliable as me in the car. And I like that time. I liked that time as a
It can be very
person.
productive.
Yeah. It was productive. It was good for me. It was good for my soul, that alone time. And then, being a new mother for the last couple years was one thing I didn't want to regret is not having my daughter with me. So my room became a nursery. I didn't care.
I
It was
like
wonderful.
books on tape sometimes.
I love that.
You can really get lost in that.
Yep.
And you can educate yourself in that too.
And your imagination is so powerful. When I would get to my Dude Ranch show, right, I would fly into Boise, get into a car, drive 3.5 hours, book on tape. I felt so much smarter. I'm like, oh, I just read that. But while it was being read to me, I saw my story and my vision and how I visualized this reader, this narrator. And to me, that was awesome. And then I would get to the Dude Ranch and sometimes be in a completely different headspace than I was when I got off that plane, feeling better. And so I started doing different books that, helped me get to a certain point in my life. I try to be a very positive person. I try to put out the message to not mirror somebody's fears or angers or however they come off at you, because I'm not for everybody. You're not for everybody. We're not going to always be liked, but it's easy to instantly get back at them when they come at you aggressively. It was an exercise in acting school. It was called Coming to the Door, and you had to be however you were going to be, no matter what door you opened, and that was who you were going to be. And I think I've used that exercise throughout my life to try to pull back.
Sounds like a good exercise.
I think it's worked for me. I'm not always successful. There are some times I'm pretty emotional, but yeah, I think it's been a good rule to follow, to be honest.
We'll be back in a moment.
Yeah, I wish I had a man in my house to do it for me. I just don't. I do fix a lot of things. I hang things. I find the stud. I drill in, and then I put the hanger. I put swings up in my bedroom. I mean, there's a lot of
Swings in your bedroom? That's
Well-
what keeps you in shape too, huh? Now, I understand that you also like, in your real life, to be a do-it-yourselfer.
Yeah, I wish I had a man in my house to do it for me. I just don't. So yeah, I've had to do that. I think there's every single day I think to myself, I wish somebody could have filmed this, because there's a lot of us at home that, are women or men, like, oh man, that's so simple. That's so easy. I need to do more of it on my social media. But while I'm doing it, I don't want to take the time to set up a camera because I'm so busy. I just want to get it done. And then afterwards, in hindsight, I'm like, I probably should have done that. But like, I've got these ball jars. It's a simple, tiny thing. But my kitchen is all white and gold. And I've got these silver ball jars. And I was like, why am I not just spraying the tops of those? I sprayed them and I put my flour in it and my sugar. I'm like, those look beautiful. Now I'm happy. It's a simple little thing. But no, I do fix a lot of things. I hang things. I find the stud. I drill in, and then I put the hanger. I put swings up in my bedroom. I mean, there's a lot
Swings in your bedroom? That's what
Well,
keeps you in shape too,
It's
huh?
a swing. It's a chair. It's
Oh,
like
okay.
a bucket, like a little happy chair. I did get it for myself and like my kids if they wanted to sit in it, but it's actually the best cat toy I own in my whole house. They come hauling in and they're up on it and crazy. They love it.
Tim obviously went on to a huge movie career.
Yeah, he sure did.
In fact, he's got something out right now, one of the Santa Clauses.
Yeah, and the irony about that is his daughter came in to audition for one of the elves. And Elizabeth is just brilliant and just a go-getter. She's so Tim and, so Jane's in this mixture of a little girl. She's just so brilliant. They gave her the lead.
Really?
Yeah, so he was so stoked. He's like, it's a daddy proud moment. I get to work with my daughter. And, as parents, we feel guilty when we can't be at something in a situation where work pulls us away from a volleyball, game or a first dance recital. Well, it was kind of nice because he got to work with her every day.
What's ahead for you?
What's ahead for me now? I don't know. I'm doing a lot of social media, and I want to get back into television or movies. I feel after this strike kind of gave me a break and a reason to be like, okay, get back into your home. I just went through a flood, which also made me a contractor to my own home. I thought it was just going to get done for me. And for 2 months I sat there and nothing was happening. So I was like, okay, I got to get this ball rolling. And it was also very educational, exciting at the same time. Building stuff is great. When it takes a while, it's frustrating. But being able to be the one with nobody telling me what they wanted, it was all my decision. It was very empowering.
It's nice making the decisions, isn't it?
Yeah. I have a company that wants to hire me for to come into their home and redo room by room. And I thought with my YouTube channel, I could do that. Maybe I'll do that. And it would actually employ me enough I would financially be set so that I could take the time and do that for them. And I love being creative like that anyway.
How did it feel knowing that you had a part in making Home Improvement such a big hit? Do you ever think of it that way?
When I was on Home Improvement, I just felt like I was helping. Until I started doing Comic-Cons, I didn't realize that the impression and the imprint that we were leaving on people's lives. And it's a very proud place to be. There's a lot of shows that I love that, as a child I watched and I'm like, Get Smart. And like, I will really remember exactly what I was doing with my best friend. But this show was such a good family show, and every single person in the family watching it on the floor or whatever was affected in a different way, and everybody got, like, the writing was so brilliant. But it feels great. It feels really good to be a part of that history because, we're there forever now. We're on TV Land, we're on Hulu, we're on Disney Plus. I mean, if we were to get together and do a new show, it would still be so fantastic because we weren't a family that fought. We had disagreements about certain things that we thought should go a different way, and we were able to talk to the writers about that. And sometimes it would change, and sometimes it wouldn't get a laugh, and it would change. But we all got to be a little bit and give a little bit of our input.
A little creative.
Yeah.
Which is always fun.
Yeah, I just love the antics. Like Richard and I were talking about rewatching it now. It's interesting because when you're on a television show, you don't necessarily sit down and watch it. You know, you live it, and then the next week you go in, and hopefully you have time that Tuesday or Wednesday, whatever it is, to watch it, but not always. But Richard was right. I mean, Richard's like, we should probably watch it again. He goes, I've been watching it. It's so funny. I forgot so many things. And the thing about him is, I don't know if you know this, but he is so smart. He is walking in right now. Oh my gosh, look how nice you look. Of course you're here.
How fabulous do you look in this print?
Hi.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God, you look so good.
So do you. So do you. Well, please sit.
Are you sure?
Absolutely. I will stand behind you.
Well, I'm okay. That's awesome.
We'll get to him in a second.
Oh, wow. Wow.
What I was going to finish my thought is, so good to see you. I was going to finish my thought is, we spend a lot of time together, and we're doing these Comic-Cons, and we go to dinner afterwards and stuff, and Richard will sit there and come up with so much information, and I'm like, well, aren't you a plethora? But like things he knows in that head, I'm like, I feel blessed to learn them quickly, but he's like, I don't know. He's just like, you
I don't know.
retain information.
Maybe it was the game show.
That's what he
Oh,
said.
that's right, Family Feud, right?
Maybe it was the game
there
show.
were others.
I don't know, but I've always been fascinated by trivia. Information just kind of sticks. Just a little bit of Velcro in my head.
Yeah.
I'm like the opposite. I'm literally like, they're like, what ranch were you at? I go, I don't know. I was either in Montana or Wyoming. Like, I don't know. It was green. There was horses.
It was a ranch.
There was dirt.
And there was a campfire. I remember a campfire.
Yeah. The food was great.
Marshmallows. Richard, what can you tell me about Debbie that I should know,
Wow.
that other people might not know?
Careful, because she's still here in the room.
Well, she was a hometown girl. She grew up in the Valley and still has lots of friends, and I'll run, because I live now in the Valley, I'll run into people who go, oh, you worked with a friend of mine, Debbe Dunning. And
we went to high school together.
we went to high school or whatever. And, the family had this great pet store that a lot of people, pets are very endearing to people long term. So, those memories stick around. But, I feel like, and you know this, that I mentioned you about coming in for home improvement.
Yeah, I said that. Yeah.
And it was so funny because Tim, they were having a tough time finding someone. I go, well, my gosh, is it really that tough? I mean, is it really that hard? What about Debbie? She was perfect. And, you go, and the producers went, no, she's too voluptuous. She's too, like this and like that. I go, oh, okay. Well, yeah, she is that. And then I go to Tim. I go, well, Tim, what is it you want? She says, well, I want somebody who's voluptuous. I want not voluptuous, but
the girl
somebody
next door who could
somebody
do a
that could
calendar.
be on a calendar.
That's what he
And
said.
I go, well, did you tell the writers that? And I go, well, they should know that. And I go, well, okay. And so I just said something, and they brought her back in, and she had this amazing time with the casting directors and everything, and it worked out. But
Yeah, we really got lucky on that one.
Speaking of which, we should just pick that up and show folks
Oh,
what
okay.
you have available.
So this is on my website. In 1996, we did a calendar, and we ran out. So I have all the photos because I own them now, and so we made a new one. And it's pretty much the photos, and it's also 1996.
well, you can change the dates.
Because we didn't want to, because
No?
people wanted the 1996 calendar. I think I'm going to do another one, but I'm going to do another one right now, like how I am now, and how, like, I've got my high school friends, I've got my girlfriends, so it'll be Debbe Dunning and Friends.
And is that available on the website?
This is available on my website, yeah. If you go to Instagram, it takes you right there
Okay.
to my store.
And you should recreate those pictures with you now
Okay.
and put them side by side.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I probably could.
Yeah.
Well, heck, a plethora of information and ideas.
And
I'm
ideas.
just gonna let you guys talk amongst yourselves.
Okay.
Well, how nice to see him. Always. I was talking to somebody yesterday and they're like, at your wedding, he was so nice. And I go, if I had a nickel, like honestly, every single time someone talks about Richard Karn, he is so nice. I think people are surprised sometimes. I think people are surprised when we are engaging and kind.
And not at each other's throats.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Richard and I, his room was here, my room was here, and Tim was right across. Like we were a little team. I think of all the laughter and stuff, I always felt like we laughed the hardest. But
What's the best thing you learned from working in Hollywood?
the best thing I've learned from working in Hollywood, never take it for granted. Always be grateful and appreciate where you are. I think develop your craft, be honest about how you want to portray whatever role you're playing. And if you can't get there, ask for help, because there's so many talented people out there that can get you to those places. I did a telenovela with Tatum O'Neal, Wicked Wicked Games, and it was very difficult to work with her. And I learned in acting class, you will always work with all sorts of levels. And they're not going to always be easy, and sometimes you're going to be like, oh my gosh, this is just too easy. Working with her was very difficult for me because we were two completely different types of people. And I'd be off book, and I would start to get frustrated that she wasn't, because I wanted it to be natural and a real emotion. And it wasn't easy for her. I wasn't mad at her. I expected her to be even, at a better level. And she got there. She did get there. She had a couple acting coaches, and that was good for her. But I was remembering the lessons. Like, don't ever expect what you're bringing to the table from them, and be open to constructive criticism and direction, because that's why he's the director, So I think that's probably one of the most important things I've learned from this business. And your 15 minutes can be up in 2 seconds, not 15. It could be, boom, gone. So remember that road one way, you got to go back down. When you come back, it's like those people are still going to be there. Got to be kind.
Thanks, Debbie.
Yeah, I loved that you were coming in, and I loved that I appreciate you inviting me to your show. I'm glad to see you back out here, and I wish you so much success.
The weather's so beautiful today. I really miss it.
Yeah. Well, we've missed you.
Coming from Chicago.
I will tell you what, people are going to love this, and they're going to be so happy to see you again. I know you're doing great.
Thanks.
Still Here Hollywood is a production of the Still Here Network. All things technical run by Justin Zangerly. Theme music by Brian Sanashin. And executive producer is Jim Lichtenstein.